Welcome into Clipboard Conversations. John Foky alongside Hornets head coach James Borrego. Coming up, we're going to take your questions in our Ask JB segment. It was a lot of fun in week one. We'll see what we have in store for week two. Plus, we'll take a look ahead as the Hornets continue this four-game West Coast road trip. Coach, we're about a week into this season. 2 games in on the road. I guess as you jump into this West Coast road trip, how can something like this really galvanize a team? And I know you've been through it with that San Antonio rodeo road trip.
Well, it's great for our guys to be on the road together, learning, growing, talking, communicating. You have to do that on the road. We've tried to build a bunker mentality these last few games. I think we've gotten better these last 2 games. Tough opponents, probably 2 contenders for the title this year, but to be on the road this early should bring us together, unite the group, which is what you need in a long season like this.
And I know you've talked about resiliency being part of the identity of this team, and I think of that Clippers game down 14-3, the crowd was into it. How was your group able to really kind of stem the tide and get back into it in that opening quarter?
Well, they showed great poise, great resiliency, as you said. It's something we talk about consistently. It's a long game. 48 minutes is a long game. You got to stick with it. Don't get too high, too low. We took a timeout, settled the group down, especially coming off a back-to-back against the Lakers. That's a tough challenge. So got off to a slow start, but found our way, especially with our bench. We went to our bench early. They gave us a lot of great minutes there, got us back into the game. We found some rhythm, and especially with the young group. You just got to stick with it. It's a long game, as we saw even deep into the fourth quarter, and that's where our growth has to come, down in the stretch in the fourth quarter. Continue to play the right way those last 6-8 minutes.
When you're in those situations and thinking of the Lakers and the Clippers games, and all of a sudden the Clippers or Lakers went on a run, how do you, as a coach, these guys as a team, stop that run and instead of a 14-2 run like the Lakers had to start the fourth, kind of keep it maybe more manageable, a 6-2 run, or try to break that up a little bit?
Well, a lot of those big runs happen when you create a lot of offense for them, where you're turning it over, you're not getting good shots. So as I watched the film, went back and looked at it, a lot of it has to do with our offense, running good offense, getting good shots, not turning it over. Because those quick turnovers become easy points. It becomes an 8-0 run, 10-0 run, as opposed to 8-4, 8-6. So we got to continue to score, run good offense. And then, part of that is getting stops as well. If you're getting stops, our offense has been much better. So we got to get stops, get out, run, play with pace. We were a little stagnant there in that second game on the road. But overall, I think our guys showed resiliency last night. I think we were down, 14-15, cut it to 8, had a chance to get a stop there to go back down and score. But we just got to stick with it. I think we learned a lot over these last 2 games. And
having guys, I think of Dwayne Bacon, who's good at getting himself to the free throw line. If you can get yourself to the free throw line, sometimes that can help break up a run too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's that aggressiveness. We don't want to just live with jump shots. And I think at times over that 48-minute game, we live with too many jump shots instead of getting to the rim, getting to the paint, putting pressure on the rim, trying to get to the free throw line, get something easy. Instead of just living with the jump shot. We love our jump shots, but we do have to get to the rim more.
Speaking of the jump shots, the three-point shooting has been outstanding through the first 4 games. 3rd in the NBA at over 40% from beyond the arc. The attempts are up to 36, up from a year ago. Are you happy with the three-point shooting and the shots that you're getting?
Yeah, the shooting is strong. I mean, we are making shots at the 3. I would like to take more uncontested right now. We're taking too many contested 3s right now. So we got to get to the paint to draw to create some more wide open 3s for us. But we don't want that to be our first shot. We love the 3 ball, but we got to get to the rim more, produce more easy buckets at the rim, produce more free throws. That's going to set up more open 3s for us as we go. We understand defenses are going to try to take away what we do offensively. We just got to continue to be an aggressive team attacking the paint.
And you've been doing that in transition. You're up around 19 points per game in terms of fast break points. That's 5th in the NBA. So when you are able to force a turnover, get out in transition, you're getting good looks from that.
Yeah, we've been very efficient in transition. When we get stops, we've gotten out, we've ran. Especially in the Laker game, we were really good in transition. The second game against the Clippers, I think we lost some of our legs on a back-to-back. We didn't have the same pace we did in the Laker game, but that's got to be what we do consistently. When we get out, we run. That's when we really put pressure on the rim. That's when we find a lot of great shots in the paint area, free throws, and then wide open 3s. So Again, that starts with our defense, though. If we're not getting stops, if we're always taking it out of the net, that puts a lot of pressure on our offense.
When you talk about getting uncontested threes, there's one play through the first 4 games that really stood out to me, and it was in the opener against Chicago. P.J. Washington kind of backs his man down. He draws the defense, gets into the paint, kick to the corner. It was Terry, moved it to Dwayne, across the court to Devontae, and then back to that far corner, and there's P.J. stepping out for 3. I mean, as a coach, you probably watched that and just thought, I mean, you couldn't script a better play than that.
No, you couldn't. I mean, I know which play you're talking about. It's probably the highlight of the year so far. That's how we want to play. Now, we got to replicate it and do that over and over again. And a lot of that has to do with, our ball movement, our spacing, our commitment to find the open man, to draw it to. And I think that's what we did. PJ saw the double team, he kicked it, and everybody made the right play, and it opened up a wide open 3 for us. So we got to do that more times than not. Obviously, defenses are only going to get better here, and they understand what we're trying to do. And that was a good defense we played, these last 2 nights in LA. But in general, that is the type of play we want to see consistently.
And when we think of getting pressure on the rim and getting to the paint, it's not just drives. It could be a play like that, and then make the kick and move the ball.
Yeah, a post-up is a paint threat for us. If we have a matchup inside, we got to throw that ball inside. It really collapses the defense for kickouts. We've not, been a high post-up team over the last year or this year, but we believe with PJ and Miles down there's some mismatches that we can go down to, and it creates confusion, and it collapses the defense, which opens up some perimeter shots for us.
And the three-point shooting has come from all over, whether it's P.J. Washington, who had 7 in that opener. We've seen Devontae Graham get off to a great start, 12 of 16 from deep through the first 2. And how about Cody Zeller? I know you guys have kind of put that on his plate of, hey, we want you to take more threes, we want you to hit more threes. Didn't happen through the first 2 games, but it was great to see him get going in these last 2 at Staples Center.
Yeah, it's going to take a minute to get comfortable shooting that 3 ball, and he's going to have it. We want him to take it. We don't want him to live with it. We got to still have some pressure on the rim from Cody, but when the defense presents it, he's got to knock it down, shoot it with confidence. And I think over the course of the season, he's only going to get more and more comfortable shooting that shot, which opens up the game for us, opens up our spacing, pulls the big man away from the rim. A lot of teams now are sitting their big man back in the paint. We want to stretch those guys out, and Cody's a big part of doing that.
Is there a tougher guy on this team than Cody Zeller?
No. No. It's always something, though, with him. He's getting banged, hit, bloody, bruised, but he keeps coming back. He's a fighter, a warrior. He's everything we want to be as Hornets.
Yeah, he kind of looked like Rocky Balboa against the Lakers. He got the cut over the eye. They stitched him up. He came right back out. As we wrap up this first segment, I just want to touch on Devontae Graham. We mentioned the three-point shooting. He's coming off tying his career high with 12 assists. What a luxury to have a guy like that coming off your bench to, as you mentioned, that bench helped you get back into it against the Clippers, but Devontae's been providing a nice punch for you.
Yeah, he's really grown, as a playmaker. As a shooter, and it just speaks to his work ethic. I don't think too many people saw this coming, and it's to his credit. He worked extremely hard this summer in the weight room, on the court, on his shot, on his decision making. He's always been a poised young man. He's played at a very high level, elite level, collegiately, and he stepped into this role this season and really has expanded his game. He's playing with great confidence, great swagger. He's out there commanding and controlling the game. Obviously, last night he moved the ball great. He's one of, if not our best passer right now, shooting the ball at a high level. So, it's a great luxury to bring him off the bench. We need him to continue to grow and shoot the ball and make plays for us.
All right, a couple more games on this West Coast trip. We'll talk about those. Plus, it's Ask JB coming up right here on the Clipboard Conversations. Segment 2 on Clipboard Conversations. It's time to Ask JB. Don't forget, follow the Hornets across all their social media channels. We'll be asking for your questions using the hashtag AskJB. And we got a number of good ones. Last week, we talked a little Nintendo. We talked a little basketball. This week, see what we've got in store for you. And we'll start with this one. It's from Zachary Branham 4. So at Zachary Branham 4, what has been the most rewarding part about coaching this young group of guys?
Just their growth from day to day. I mean, that's the most rewarding part, is when you see that growth in a game. You see them make the right play, something we've been working on all summer, something we've been working on for a day or two in practice, and to see it come out in a game and show that growth, that development, for me is the most rewarding piece. Obviously, we want to win every game, and that's the most exciting piece is as far as a competitor. You want to win the game, but secondly, it's just watching your young guys develop and grow. And when you see that, in a game in LA, in front of their fans, that's very rewarding as a coach.
All right, we've got a couple here from James Young MVP at James Young MVP.
Sounds like a player,
right?
Baller.
His first question: what type of personality do you want to see out of this team?
Gritty, tough, physical. It's something we have to grow into. We're not there right now, but I'd like to see that grow and develop. It's something that we have to work towards. It's not just going to happen overnight, but I'd like to see this group be gritty, resilient, tough, physical group as we grow through these 82 games.
Is one way to get there? I mean, you just got to experience it, right? Experience the physicality of the NBA?
Yeah, you can talk about it, you can show it on film, but you literally have to go out there and experience it for yourself. And there's going to be some hard knocks along the way, but we got to keep standing up, keep getting better from it. I think we got better coming out of that Laker game into the Clipper game. I saw a lot of resiliency, I saw a lot of growth. We were much more physical in the Clipper game. Our defense picked up. Our paint defense was there. That's the type of mentality we need to build over the course of this season. It's not going to happen overnight, but I think little by little, that's the goal ultimately.
All right, second question from at James Young MVP. You seem like a guy who eats well. What is your favorite vegetable?
Favorite vegetable? Wow.
And it can't be like broccoli covered in cheese whiz or something like that.
I'm surprised that I've gone to this, but Brussels sprouts.
Yes.
Love the Brussels sprouts.
Olive
oil, some sea salt, in the oven. It stinks the house up, but it's worth it, with a little chicken or piece of fish. A good Brussels sprout right now is probably my go-to.
As I try to keep myself off the chicken wings, Brussels sprouts with buffalo sauce. It's a good way. There you go. Little helpful hint for everybody.
There you go.
Here's one from Hornets Beard Guy.
Beard Guy.
Is that you? Is this your Twitter account?
That could be.
After Monday's game against the Clippers, will we see Devontae Graham play a bigger role for you?
Well, he already is. Obviously, he's playing high minutes, closing games for us. He was closing the game, game one against Chicago. I trust him. I believe in him. He's expanding his role, is the best way I could put it. He's going to have to continue to grow, just like all our young guys, but absolutely.
All right, final one, and this one's from at JW Folky. Seems like a great follow on Twitter. Definitely be sure to follow him.
Is that your brother?
That's me. I heard you recently on the radio, and you said you were a Friends guy over Seinfeld. I need an explanation.
Man, that was my go-to show. I don't know. It's my I think that was my Thursday night go-to, with our friends and my wife and I, who was my girlfriend at the time. That was our go-to, show. People said I looked like Ross, so that was part of the draw. And I didn't see it, but I love that show. I could still put it on today. I mean, when there's nothing on, there's no games on, and my wife and I are sitting there, just looking for something to watch. If Friends is on, that's our go-to as well. So you can't go wrong.
I bet. That's fine. I was a Seinfeld guy personally. And to this day, still, I feel like I could recite episodes. I'm sure you feel the same way about Friends. There was some great television then.
Yes.
All right, we thank you so much for your questions. Don't forget to follow the Hornets across all their social media channels. We'll be sourcing your questions, #AskJB. When we come back, final segment, we take a look at the road ahead next, right here on Clipboard Conversations. The road trip continues on the West Coast. 2 games left. We got the Sacramento Kings, the Golden State Warriors. Real quick, Coach, let's take a look at the Kings. 0-4 on the season. They've been in some games. They've played some close games. They're dealing with some injuries. Different looking team. A lot of the same personnel, but different feel to this team under Luke Walton. Last year, they were 3rd in pace. This year, they're playing at a much slower clip, at least through the first 4 games. What stands out about Sacramento for you?
Well, very talented roster. An absolute, extremely talented group. They're trying to find their way just like us. New staff, new system. It's going to take a minute to figure that out. I respect where they're at. Obviously, they're going to come in hungry tomorrow night, as are we. You know, we got to come in as the aggressors, not allow their aggressiveness, trying to get their first win to take over the game. We got to continue to be the aggressors in this game to start. But you got to give them a lot of credit. They're a very talented group. They can play with pace, and I expect them to play with more pace as the season goes along. Obviously, Fox is a talent getting downhill. We saw what he did last year. This summer he was fantastic, with the U.S. team. But we just got to get back, set our defense. They got shooting, they got depth, they got playmaking out there. So we got our hands full, but we got to control what we can, be who we are, and number one, be the aggressors tomorrow night.
And I think of De'Aaron Fox, how fast he is with the ball in his hands. I mean, getting your defense back, you don't want to be kind of backpedaling with him running at you.
No, if it's a foot race with him, he's going to win that. If you're backpedaling, he's going to win that. We got to get back with bodies. Show him 2-3 bodies, and hopefully they're taking out of the net most of the night. So we're running good offense. Again, we got to control our turnovers. If we're turning it over and it ends up in his hands, it's going to be a long night. All
right, the road trip will wrap up Saturday at the brand new Chase Center in San Francisco. Now, you've been around this league a long time. You've probably played in different buildings, but for so long, we've gone to the Oracle.
Yeah.
Is this going to be weird?
It's going to be strange. That's one of the special arenas, in our league. Fans are great. There's something special about that place, obviously. The way they've competed over the years, their fans, the juice in that arena. This will be new. I'm looking forward to it. It'll be exciting. It's a new era, new time for them. So, but it's going to feel strange. But we'll see a lot of familiar faces. I think they still got a guy named Steph Curry over there and Draymond Green. So. Obviously a very competitive group, but excited to see what that arena looks like.
And when you go into a new arena, do you try to get the guys in there to shoot around a little bit, or maybe get there a little early to get sight lines and just kind of a feel? Or, I mean, are all these arenas, you've been to so many after a while that you're just used to whatever the arena has? Yeah,
we don't want to overthink it. We don't want to overthink the shooting there. Yeah, we're going to go in, do what we do, our normal routine. Obviously, as guys play there more times, they'll get more comfortable. We're only there once a year. So, yeah, it's exciting to play in that arena. I hear great things about it.
All right, ought to be a lot of fun. 2 games left on the road trip. Coach, thanks so much for your time.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Head coach James Borrego right here on Clipboard Conversations.